Good evening, folks. So last time I said I was going to post a response to some questions that people have asked me about the transition process. The question I most frequently have gotten thus far has been, why now? You're 40, you've got a stable life. Why upend the apple cart, so to speak? And and there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, it took me a long time to get to the point where I could mentally process the fact that I was not really gay. Despite the fact that I'd come out as gay years and years ago, that really was not me. It never was. It was just, I couldn't really conceive of another way to think of myself. So it took, a long time for me to finally go wake up and smell the coffee, so to speak. And I guess tied into that is the way my life has been thus far up until this point. It's not been conducive, I guess, to too much self-exploration. I was afraid. It's pretty much the most honest answer I can give. Throughout my life, I think this applies to most people, the things that tend to be roadblocks, stumbling blocks on the way to happiness, tends to be fear. You might be afraid of failure. You might be afraid that your friends and family, like that was in my case, wouldn't accept you for who you really are. You might be afraid that you're not worthy, you're not deserving of having, let's say, somebody love you. Those fear is usually what drives the stumbling blocks. So for me, that's what it was. I was afraid of letting myself be me. So yeah, 40 years. 40 years for me to get over that, but I finally did. And I'm very happy that, I can just be me. Because what else am I going to do? So for the next 40 years, I plan on making up for all that, lost time. Update on my tea. It's been a month now, and about a month and a week. My voice still keeps doing its little up and down dance. Some days I wake up and I feel like I have swallowed the biggest toad you'll ever see in your life because I can barely talk. It has affected my singing voice in interesting ways. There were songs and there were things that I couldn't sing before because my voice couldn't go that low. And now it's like going straight down. So that's awesome. I'm going to try to post something later on. I don't know how well this thing is going to pick up me singing and playing, but I'll try. If not, then my wonderful brother, who has a recording set up that, maybe I'll go by his house this weekend and we'll do something so that I can put that on there. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. The only downside to that is that I used to be able to sing male falsettos pretty good. Unfortunately, now I can't do my Maroon 5s or Bruno Mars's anymore. At least not in the normal, way that they sing it. But I have found my own voice, which is very neat. Before, I used to have to try to imitate the voices that I liked, but I didn't actually have a voice of my own. So to me, it's fantastic. It's really cool to be able to be singing a song and to hear me for the first time, or feel like I'm hearing me. So that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. What else? Physical changes. The weight loss has kind of tapered off. I haven't really been able to do exercise because I'm still recovering from the surgery. So, that's kind of at a plateau right now, but that's okay. I have just have a little patience, so once I'm fully recovered, I can really dig into the exercising, and hopefully that'll, um, uh, facial hair. I've been told that typically it takes about 6 months to a year for you to see any scruff. My face is doing some weird stuff. Most uh, FTMs, when they take tea, their face starts getting, their skin and their face gets oily, and I guess because I don't know, I'm not really sure about the reason why, but mine's doing the exact opposite. Instead of getting oily, my face is getting really dry, like freaking sandpaper. It feels like I'm just dying of itching. Be putting cream and stuff on my face like all the time, and it's weird because I've never really had dry skin like that. And I've got the little prepubescent stash going, which of course you can't see it because it's just like these microscopic little hairs. And I have like sparse little beard hairs here and there that just popping out, and they prickle, but there's no like beard action going on yet. But apparently they're there, so we'll see in a few months what happens with that. Hopefully I don't start breaking out into some major acne later on, and having to pay for all the for all the non-acne I'm not getting now, or that I even had when I was a teenager. So we'll see. Other than that, there are certain frustrations that I would say are unique to the position that I'm in right now. One of them is something that is like, oh my god, it just, you have no idea. And it's nothing, and what I'm about to say is nothing it's not an indictment on my friends or the people that I hang out with, because it's not their fault. It's just circumstance. Like, for example, when I go out with my friends to the bar, and in Latin culture, it's, dance is a very big part of the culture. When I was growing up, my parents are not dancers. They don't like to dance. They love music, because of course my dad played guitar all the time in the house, every single day until the day he died. And my mom, she and my dad used to sing all the time, but they were not really, it's not club music. My parents would play a little salsa and here and there, a little merengue or whatever, but my dad was a big fan of old school boleros. That's what he loved. And he loved a little American rock and roll, like little Beatles, little Elvis. And my mom was more into like these Spanish singer-songwriters, flamenco, classical, opera. That's what we used to hear in the house. It wasn't until my siblings got old enough to, be interested in dancing with somebody that kind of music was heard more around the house. And of course, me, being 5 6 years younger than them, they were like, "Who's this annoying child trying to come over here to dance with us and to hang out with us? Go away! I don't want you around here." So they taught me a few things here and there, but I didn't really learn much from them. And by the time I got old enough to want to be, going out and whatever, I didn't really have that many Spanish friends. I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. So, given and the fact that I was really shy too, I had so much stuff going on with, am I gay, am I not, what am I? Even though it's not, how would you say, weird, or in Spanish culture, women dance with women all the time. But there's a big difference between two women dancing together as opposed to a man who's leading a woman. And that's where I fall into problems, because I don't know. I can barely dance as is. So, when I go to dance with these other females, I'm thinking 50 million things in my head at once, just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to put my feet. And it's frustrating. Oh my god, it is so frustrating. I've only had one girlfriend who is entirely Spanish. And she and I, when we were out, because we had a lot of mutual friends, and it was still hush hush on the down low. You know, when we were out, we never danced together. When we were home, we used to dance all the time, and that was something that God, I loved it. You know, it was great because I felt connected, and what was great about it was that I trusted her, she trusted me, and it was just, yeah, it was awesome. I want that feeling again. But here's the thing, you know, again, that was us just fooling around at home. I got other shit I got to learn now. So yeah, the little frustrations of a trans man. But you know, like anything else, I'm like, I guess I'll be signing up for some dance classes and somehow I'll figure this this mess out. But it's those things like that that really, you know, you might not think that they would be bothersome, but they are. And stuff like, well, I could go on. The list is long at this point of things I missed out on that any typical male would have learned ages ago, would have known ages ago, and now I got to figure those things out. I got to figure out what kind of man I am. You know, and that's becoming interesting. I was thinking today, as a matter of fact, that my dad, you know, he was really rough on me in a lot of ways. He didn't cut me any slack. He was always very hard, and I I really hated it at the time. And something that struck me today was that even though he was that way with me, he also never he never judged me, and he never tried to change me. When I was little, you know, even something so stupid as like we'd go to McDonald's and you know they have the boy toys and the girl toys, and you know back then it was like even more segregated than it is now. Back then they were like pink, one side was pink, the other was blue, and he always got me the boy toys. He knew I didn't want the girl ones. My mom would be like, "Here you go, take the pink one," and I'm like, "No." And Dad was like, "Here you go, have the Legos, have the car, have you know whatever you want, and we're cool." He taught me how to hunt. He taught me how to fish. He taught me how to fix things in the car, fix things around the house. He used to talk to me about his past relationships. I used to sit with him when he'd do things for my mom. My dad was always really, he was always very conscious of his relationship with my mother and how important that was. He wasn't so great at the whole father thing sometimes, but you know, I guess I can say I didn't really appreciate a lot of the things he did because I was really angry at him for some of the other stuff. But maybe he was trying to toughen me up. Maybe he was trying to tell me something that I didn't really understand until now. So I appreciate that, Pops. Maybe someday I'll get to tell you that face to face. So anyway, if anybody has some commentary, you know, stuff you'd like to share with me via video or you know via the comments, please feel free. I'd love to hear from anyone and everyone about you know your thoughts. You might have some insight that may be helpful to me. So thank you so much, my friends, and I will be talking to you all later. Peace out.